The issue comes with the spot healing brush tool and the patch tool. So I'm going to go over a few steps quickly. First, we're going to open up our starting file, which is 02start.tiff. So we have to crop this image. If you don't see this window over here, this navigator, you can go into Window and click on Navigator, and that will pop up over here so you can see it. You can also resize this a little bit so that it's a little bit out of the way. If you want it completely out of the way, just click this little icon here and it'll go out of the way. You can click that icon again to bring it back. So right now I am going to just click out of it and we're going to crop our image. So cropping our image, we'll do that very quickly just because that is not an issue that you're having with the image. So we'll just go ahead and do that really fast over here, really quickly. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be close enough to what we need to do. You can adjust with your arrow keys if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead and do it really rough, just like this over here. And then you can either click on this button over here, this check box, or you can hit enter. I'm going to just hit enter to straighten it and crop it. Now this is where you need a little bit more help with. So the tool here is the spot healing brush tool. It's right over here where my mouse is. It looks like a little band-aid with a little star next to it. If you click on this and click and hold, more options will pop out, like the patch tool, which we'll get into later on. But first, let's talk about the spot healing brush tool. And this is what we want to use. So we'll go ahead and we'll click on that and make sure that the band-aid with the star is selected. We'll go into our options up here and see the different options that we have available for this tool here. So right over here, we're going to click on the brush settings and make sure that our options are at 25 pixels for the size of the brush. That's how big the brush is going to be. And the hardness we can leave at 100%. So this is what you want to see. You want to see 25 pixels, 100%, and that's pretty much the defaults that we'll be using. So the nice thing about it, the easy thing to do, is that you're just clicking and brushing with the spot healing brush tool to fix problems like this fold right here that we have and this scratch. And if we open up our navigator by either going to Window, Navigator, or clicking on this icon right over here, we can zoom in and see a little bit more details of things that we might want to adjust and fix, like these little spots over here. So let's start with the fold. The first thing you want to do is you want to go slowly. Work in segments. Click with your spot healing brush tool selected right here, and just click and drag on that fold. Just in segments like this. Sometimes it might take a second or two for the computer program to catch up, but once it does, you can see that it got rid of that fold. And you want to keep going. You can click on the navigator and when you're zoomed in and drag, or you can click the mouse button and drag on the canvas so that you can see where you're working on. So we'll keep going in small segments like that. We'll click and hold and drag. Click, hold, and drag. So we're kind of painting. And we're going slow. And the reason why is because if you go too big of a segment, like right over here, it may cause the bridge to come in and be fixed, not natural looking. So take your time, go slow, and use little tiny segments like that. Spacebar, drag up when you're zoomed in like that, and little tiny segments like that. Be patient, take your time, don't try to use one straight line in one shot, because funny things might start to happen that don't give you the effect that you desire. So go slow like that. Just click and drag with that tool. And for these little sections here, like this little dot, it's enough just to click. Just a click is enough to kind of fix those little imperfections here and there, these little scratches and these dots. You can go around kind of cleaning this up perfectly. Be patient, take your time, little dots, little clicks for little segments, like here, right? And then we have this scratch over here. So this scratch, because it's in a nice big blue background, we can just click and drag and paint over it. And then when we let go, the program will take a moment or two and it'll get rid of that scratch for us. So we can keep going, keep looking at scratches. I see this one spot on in the navigator that's kind of blur over here. This spot, I want to get rid of that spot. Maybe I want to fix this spot over here. And I can keep going and keep fixing things, taking my time to make sure that the photo looks nice and all those little scratches and scuffs and dirt marks are all eliminated just by little clicks on the smaller things here like that. Okay? And then we're going to skip forward a few steps to work with the patch tool. So normally what we would want to do here is we would want to add the color balance, fix the color balance so that I believe the settings were 20, 20, and 39 to get rid of the green color tint here. We also wanted to add a levels adjustment and bring the middle level here to 0.35, and then we hit enter and then it's all brightened up and the green is removed. So we'll make sure we flatten this now, and if you didn't see, the adjustment layer is right down here in the levels panel. So you have to click down here on this little icon that looks like half a pizza filled and select the correct adjustment layers here with the settings that were in the instruction manual. Anyway, you'll go into layer and you'll flatten this image, and this is where we will begin to use the patch tool. Now, this panel is in the way, so I'm just going to click on here to hide it. And I'm going to use the patch tool to get rid of this person here. So I want to zoom in, so I'm going to click on the navigator. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit and move my navigator right over here so that I can see the boy that I'm working with. The patch tool lives over here, just like where our spot healing brush tool. This is a set of tools that will help us heal and manipulate the photo the way we want. So right now, when we click and hold on the spot healing brush tool, we'll open up this panel and we'll see the patch tool. So when we click on the patch tool, we have this little icon that looks like a little square with little fuzzies on it, right? And we also want to make sure that what we have selected up here in the options, by the way, is source, up top here, source, and this little thing with the replace button. So if you have anything else selected, that's where you might be having issues coming in. So make sure your options are this button right here, the unite, or replace, I'm sorry, the replace button here, not the unite, not the subtract, and not the intersect. You want replace. And you also want it to be source. And this is where you need to be patient. This is where you need to kind of try it a few times. By the way, make sure you save your file as a PSD at this point as well. Don't forget to save and lose work, because this is the part that requires patience as well. you'll have to take your mouse, once you have this selected here, and you'll have to click and draw around the boy. So this might take a few tries, this might take a few attempts. You'll have to get used to how the mouse moves and how your hand affects the movement of the mouse. So you'll have to go around drawing an outline on the boy. Don't forget his shadow. And once you complete that, you'll see this selection that you have made. Okay? You might have to try it a couple times. If it doesn't work, if you mess up your selection, for example, you can click out anywhere like that and it will reset. If, for example, you went over here and you went a little bit too far and you made that selection, you can hit a keyboard shortcut, which is Command D, or you can go over to Select and click Deselect in your menu option right here. And this right here, I'm on a Mac, so it shows me Command D is my keyboard shortcut. If you're working on a PC, you might have a different command here. I think it's Alt, if I'm not wrong. It might be Control. Double check, see what it says. That's your keyboard shortcut, but you can click on Deselect to start over. So we'll just keep on drawing again, and we'll go. I'm going quickly, but you should go slowly to kind of try to get it accurate. Go slowly. Take your time. Be patient. Again, if you mess up, you can always hit Command D to restart and redraw it. If you slip, just start again. Command D or Select, Deselect. Select, Deselect, and just start drawing. Be slow, be patient, take your time. Feel the way the mouse moves to your hand, right? That's the part that's going to take some patience, and that's the part that's going to kind of take a little bit longer because you're going to have to feel the mouse. But once you make your selection and you're happy with it, all you have to do then is click and drag over. Try to line up by moving the mouse up and down. Try to line up the image of the wall so that you have minimal things to fix. Now, obviously, there are going to be some things that need to be fixed with the clone stamp tool. But we can try to get it as close as possible. It depends if you want to work on this top portion or from the bottom portion. It's up to you. But I think if you start from the bridge over here, the bottom portion, and line it up nicely like this, you have a really good selection. Then all you do is let go of the mouse and click, and you're done there. So that's the patch tool. The next and final step is the clone stamp tool right over here. So the clone stamp tool, you'll have to use the option button to select from a part of the image that you want to clone, that you want to brush from. So you're creating like your own brush. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it 25, just so that we can see a little bit more clearly. So if I click with the Alt button or the Option button on a Mac, I can select this this section. See? This is what I'm going to be drawing with here. If I want it to be bigger, which in my case, I do want it to be bigger. I want it to be about maybe 55. I'll be drawing. Oops, I'm going to hit undo. I'll be selecting from here and drawing here like that. It's a little bit too hard for me though, right? So I might go into my options and bring the hardness down a little bit so that it's a little fuzzier for me and it looks a little bit more natural when I come in here and I try to fix that line to make it nice and straight. I might want to select from this area as well to kind of create something, put in these patches here like this to make it a little bit more natural. Again, so it looks like part of the building. And that's all there is to it. Now, if you want to go the extra step, you can go back to your spot healing brush tool and get rid of some of these extra repeating patterns that you created when you used the patch tool. So it looks a little bit more natural because there are less repeating patterns like this in nature. So if you create something like that, you can create something that looks a little bit more natural for your final piece. So that's pretty much all there is to it. If you need to, I recommend watching the video a couple times, watch it over again, and if you have any questions after this, after watching it a few times and watching how it works, please let me know.